Good morning. Welcome to the Community Review on Hot 92.3. I'm Josefa Salinas, your host. Well, we are in the new year, 2012, the year of change. So many things are going to happen, but guess what? Let me just tell you right now, the world is not going to end. Okay? In December, it will not be ending. Yes, the Mayan calendar comes to somewhat of a close, but as we found out from our experts, it's not the end of the world. It is the beginning of change. There's nothing wrong with change. Well, one of the things I hope that we have inspired you to do, we did a 6-part series in 2011 that talked all about nonprofits. We had an amazing nonprofit workshop called Profiles of a Successful Nonprofit. In that, we looked at all the different things you need to know if you want to start a nonprofit, if you already are a nonprofit, how to take it to the next level, or if you're at the next level, how to grow it to be a business. With me today, my two dear friends who walked us through those steps, here to recap for us as we head into 2012. Just how do you start a nonprofit? Who should start a nonprofit? How do you get some money together once you have your nonprofit? Who should be on your board of directors? Why do you even need one? And what are those horrible 5 watchdogs out there waiting to trip you up just for not sending in a little piece of paper? With us from the Nonprofit Development Alliance, FixMyNonprofit.com, it's Norm and Gatonga. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Josefa.
Wonderful to have you both here. Happy New Year.
Likewise.
You too.
Yes. So let's just get right down to it. Our incredible series that everybody is just going gaga over on nonprofits. Our workshop was full. Couldn't put another person in the room. An amazing, amazing turnout. We had a great time there, and so many people are saying, hey, can you do this again in 2012? Because we gave so much information. So let's talk a little bit about nonprofits. What is a nonprofit?
A nonprofit, by definition, contrary to what a lot of people think, because there's a lot of misconception on what it is, a nonprofit is a tax term. That's what it is. All it means is a company. It's a business that does not pay corporate income tax, because Congress has always tried to encourage certain businesses that cater to the needy in the community. The needy could be homeless, could be abused animals, it could all those that are not getting help. Congress decided, let's encourage some businesses to cater to them. In exchange, we'll reward them by exempting them from paying corporate income taxes. That's what a nonprofit is, and it's not anything else. It's not a handout. It's not just give me. It's more serious than that. It's a company, except you're exempt from paying corporate income tax because of the positive impact you have in the community.
It's also a multi-billion-dollar business in and of itself. If you look at just the state of California, it's a multi-billion-dollar business because most of your universities, most of your hospitals, many of your organizations are all nonprofits. And so the misconception that people have out there is they think that nonprofits are broke organizations, and nothing is further from the truth. You should not be broke.
Are most school districts nonprofits?
They are all nonprofits, yes.
Yes, okay.
They are nonprofits, and anybody who doesn't think they make money, just think about whether the chancellor of a community college or a university, whether they work for free.
Exactly. They don't. In fact, there's some pretty hefty salaries, if I recall some of the stories from last year. So let's talk about who should start a nonprofit. Let's say I've got person number 1 loves animals and wants to rescue chihuahuas. And that's her passion. She wants to be a Chihuahua rescue. Person number 2 has a conference for girls and wants to grow it into a charter school and center for girls. How would you approach both of those people?
Okay. It does not matter. The definition, the motive is, let's talk about what the similarities are between them and what the differences are. First, the similarity. The concept is the same. They had a dream. Usually what we have seen is they have a dream of doing good, number 1, and they share that in common. Now, what makes the difference is one that becomes a hobby, the other one who becomes a business. If one of them wants to save 1 or 2 chihuahuas a year, okay, that's like a passion. They just feel they just like to do good, and that's no big deal. The next one who like to to save 2,000 chihuahuas. Now, one of them is a hobby, saving 1 or 2 a year, it doesn't matter. Another one is saving 3,000. It's a business because they're going to want my $1 million. So I'm going to require what I'm going to require of them. If they're going to save 3,000 chihuahuas, I'm going to tell them, you got to function like a business if you want my money. The other one, it doesn't matter because they're not interested in saving thousands, so they don't have to look like a business. That's the difference between them.
Okay.
And so let's look at your charter school as a hypothetical example. Again, the mission, the passion is the same, to help girls and to be able to start an organization. The question is that you want to help a handful of girls or do you want to help hundreds or thousands of girls? So again, the analogy is exactly the same as Katanga just said. The goals are overall the same. It's really just a matter of the capacity of the number of people that you wish to engage.
Very good. Okay,
Another very good example for you, especially for you, Josefa. You have always had the passion. You have always helped girls, I'm sure. If I ask you how long you have helped girls, it might span into years. Would you tell me?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the difference between the way you have done it and where you want to be in 2012? There is a difference. Approaching me is telling me that now you like to help 5,000 girls. Therefore, I'm going to change your mindset. I'm going to change your game plan because now you have said you want a career. So you have to function differently. So it's like if you are running a Vaughn store versus if you are running a liquor store. Your mentality needs to be different. The people you're going to work with are different. The money you are going to get, it may even be in the millions and different. So the whole strategy changes. That is the difference.
And if I may, I'd like to address the people. We've talked about the people who should start nonprofits. I want to specifically talk about those who should not, because some people make the mistake is they start a nonprofit because they're looking to create a job for themselves. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is not your number one reason. You have to have a cause. You have to have a mission. It's great that you want to be the executive director of this organization, but if you are doing this for your own self-fulfilling ulterior motive, that is not the right purpose.
Right. Okay, so now let's talk about you've decided that you're the right person to start a nonprofit. You've got the passion. You're ready to take this to the next level, make this a career, and really do this. So now, what's the first thing that we have to do? I know that if I recall correctly, first of all, we must become a corporation, which means filing your papers to become a corporation, because you cannot be a nonprofit if you are not a corporation, correct?
Correct. Now, the first step, and I'm dealing with 4 clients right now, a real tragedy, that formed a corporation, and then they thought they were a nonprofit.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I've heard some people make that
now,
mistake.
what some of them have learned is that forming a corporation in California, unless you jump right away and get the blessing of the IRS to be a chartered nonprofit, just because you have a corporation, immediately in California, you owe $800 of taxes right there.
Yeah,
The only way to avoid that is to go ahead and do the paperwork. So the first step, know the rules. Preferably, have somebody who has knowledge on how to go about doing it. Don't try to do it yourself. Avoid talking to friends.
Right.
But get professional help. So you don't end up to be some of those that I was helping last week that opened theirs in 1972. And there's a corporation and they have never done the charter the way it's supposed to be done. Then they just found out they owe $16,000 in California, so they just had to walk away. So step 1, know the rules. Preferably talk to a professional.
Right. And right now, if you'd like some information on how to get a hold of a professional, fixmynonprofit.com will take you right to these 2 incredible gentlemen here and a whole lot more resources to get you moving on what you need to know. Okay, so we have to become a corporation. Then we must immediately file to become a nonprofit. Now, this is not an easy thing to do, people. The paperwork for filling out to become a nonprofit is not simple. It's not easy. It can be done, but it is difficult. And I highly encourage you to find people to help you who know what they're doing. People who, that's their area. It's what they do. If you're going to have brain surgery, you don't go see a podiatrist. You go to a brain surgeon. When you need help setting up a nonprofit, you find people who know how to do those very things for you so that you can be ensured that you get that magical letter from the IRS that says, congratulations, you are now a nonprofit. You can tell people that you are a nonprofit. If they make donations to you, they can deduct it on their taxes, and that you have the blessings of the IRS. Now, there's 5 watchdogs actually that we need to be in compliance with. The IRS is 1. Gatonga, please tell me the other 4.
Okay, these are what I call stakeholders. Number 1 is the IRS. That's the one that first has to bless you. Number 2 is his cousin, franchise tax board, okay, or the state tax board of whatever state you are in. Number 3, Board of Equalization. The question is, are you going to get involved in any fundraising at all? And we ask that in the application. If you are going to, I can guarantee you they're going to stop and say hello. So it's better to know who they are. Mm-hmm. And this is a new law. The Attorney General, the Registry of Charitable Trust, they have filing requirements now. They have become a watchdog. They want to see what each nonprofit is up to. Okay, so Attorney General Kamala Harris, don't ignore her because she can shut you down too.
Yeah.
And the 5th one is a lot of nonprofits do not know that the assessor's office give credit to nonprofits that own facilities. So you could have a credit or money or you just because you're a nonprofit, you just didn't know. So what I'm teaching is not only do you have to know those people who you are liable to, it's good to know even somebody who may owe you some money.
Ah, yes, that's always good.
You know, a lot of people who are involved in the charitable world, whether they have their own nonprofit or work for others, they are not taking advantage of some of the tax abilities that they have, whether it be writing off mileage when you're involved in a charitable event or by donating in kind. Because sometimes when people think that, yes, I'm giving $100 to a charity of my choice, but meanwhile, if you are there volunteering your service, let's just say you are an accountant or an attorney and you are on a board, or maybe you're just giving some people some constructive advice within the nonprofit world, that's actually a tax-deductible contribution that you can take as an individual, and the nonprofit can also show it as income in kind, which helps their balance sheet. So it's a win-win world if both sides understand how the rules work.
Very good.
So the point is, not only is good business to know about the watchdogs, it's also a good idea to know what you are entitled to, wouldn't you?
Oh, most definitely. So now we have an idea of kind of who we need to report to, and we got our letter from the IRS. So now we need to start thinking about setting things up, hiring a staff and getting our board of directors. Let's look at board of directors first. What are we looking for in a board of directors, and do I need a board of directors for my nonprofit?
Okay, if you are the first client who is just a passion, it's like a hobby, maybe you don't. You can run it the way you want. It's a hobby, like it's a sailing club, maybe you don't need. But if you want my money, different ball game. Everybody, you go out there for money. The first question they're asking everybody now is, how are you governed? Why do they want to see that? So they want to see if there is checks and balance. Is this nonprofit run by a man, his wife and son? Is that where you want to take your money? Maybe not. You don't think that is for the good of the society. So governing board gives you credibility. It just shows that you are out there, you are transparent. You don't have secrets. I'm not going to fund you if I think you have secrets to be doing with my money. The way I know that I'm assured that my money will be handled correctly, these days I'm sure all of you know that we have a lot of crooks out there starting nonprofits. You want to distinguish yourself from that. You don't want that reputation. The only way you do that is by having an oversight to show that you don't run everything. You have somebody who oversees what you're doing. That's the importance of a governing board.
And here we are just past the holidays, and of course there's been several charities that have been profiled as being abusive charities, which means that you give them their money and 80% of it goes towards administrative, salaries, expenses, and only 20% of it goes towards actually helping the people that they're trying to help. Same thing with the car donations. A lot of people, they say, oh yeah, I want to give my used car to this organization, but there's a right way and there's a wrong way to do it. So, for those of you who are giving your money to charity, and we certainly encourage you to do so, make sure you're giving it to a charity that's using the money wisely and not abusing it.
And how do we check on that?
There's a great website put together by GuideStar, and it's all public information because every charity has to file what they call a 990 form. And you can go to the GuideStar and you can go to various different websites and you can actually see how much they spend on administration, how much they pay on salary, and what other types of information would be available in that 990G.
It's also whether you are a true public charity or whether you're private. They can be able to tell by looking at the at the 990.
And what's the difference between a public nonprofit and a private nonprofit?
Public, you have a more favorable status with the Internal Revenue Service than private. In other words, if most of your funding is coming from the little old ladies across the street everywhere, it tells Congress that you actually exist for the benefit of all. You have to agree that that means something to the community. Private, you can fund whoever you want. You see the difference? Yes. That's why there's nothing wrong with private. You can fund whoever you want because you are free, but you are not as favorable, and I may not fund you as well as I will fund somebody who is there for the public at large.
What if you're a private organization who does everything for the public?
Then you may want to give me a call and say hello, because we may want to convert you to public.
Oh, okay.
Because then you are missing some benefits that even you could be getting from the government. Why do you continue missing them if you're earning them by serving the public?
Okay.
It's a good distinction to know about. If you're a private foundation or a private charity, then obviously you have your own very personal mission. And it might just be to save something within your local area, and you aren't looking for any type of expansion plan. And if that's the case, that's fine. You're not going to go to the big endowments and actually seek money. You're basically going to do it either by self-funding or just by your small collection of associates.
Well, it sounds like I might have a little bit of work to do in 2012, because this is the year I'm taking my nonprofit and turning it into a business. We'll be right back with a continuation of the wrap-up of how to start a nonprofit from beginning to end. And of course, if you missed anything in this 6-part series, you can always go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Josefa Salinas, and re-listen to all the parts. We'll be right back in the Community Review Hot 92.3. Don't go away.